Should you bother walking the Nakasendo on your trip to Japan? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you answer that question because I'm about to show you what to expect as you walk the trail between two of Japan's most beautiful villages, Magome and Tsumago. You'll see everything from accommodation to food and landmarks, as well as getting many helpful tips along the way. And before we begin this video, to fully appreciate the significance of the Nakasendo, we need a very brief history lesson. In the year 1600, Tokugawa Ieyasu seized power in Japan, and by 1603 he had become the country's supreme military leader known as the Shogun, which started the Edo period. The new shogunate began the construction of 5 routes which led to and from the capital city, Edo, which we now know as Tokyo. One of these routes was the Nakasendo, or the Central Mountain Route, which ran for just over 500 kilometers between Kyoto and Edo. The Nakasendo contained 69 postal stations, or juku, within which travelers could stop for rest or supplies. The Nakasendo began to decline during Japan's Meiji Restoration of 1868 as the country modernized and began to use railway transportation. Fast forward to the present day, and most of the route has been replaced by modern roads. However, the section between Magamejuku and the Sumigo is one of only 3 which have been preserved and restored to its original form and have been recognized as National Historic Sites of Japan. So let's head to the magnificent Magamejuku and begin this video. Right, here we are on Magome Main Street. Just look how beautiful this little town is. It really feels like a time capsule from Japan's Edo period. It is so hard to walk around here and not be constantly taking pictures because everything is just so picturesque. I'm going to start with my first tip of the day, and the tip is absolutely bring cash, because the bus here to this town only accepts cash. The IC card does not work. If you arrive to Magome without cash, it's not the end of the world because there is an ATM here. However, there's only one, and it is inside the post office. I think maybe 10,000 yen per day might do you here. Now, I actually arrived here last night, and I recommend you do the same because this town is just so beautiful when all the tourists leave and the sun is setting. And if you want to stay here in Magome itself, it can be quite hard to find accommodation, so I really do recommend you book ahead, but it is going to be a little bit expensive. I think most rooms, from what I could see, were double rooms, and the price reflects that. I think from memory the price was about 20,000 yen for the cheapest room, so it's not the worst, but if you're on a budget like myself, it is a bit expensive. And there are a number of guest houses around Magome, but there's a couple just outside the town, about 10 minutes walk, and that's where I stayed. I stayed in guest house Modomiya, and I cannot recommend it enough. Just look at this food we had last night. The hostess is absolutely great. She speaks perfect English. She's so friendly, warm and welcoming, and the food she cooked, dinner and breakfast, was just incredible. Not to mention the architecture of the building was just so beautiful. It was such a nice place to spend some time, so I can definitely recommend it for accommodation if you do not want to stay in Magome itself. I think I say this in most of my vlogs, but like any good millennial, I like to start my morning with coffee, and there are a number of coffee shops here in Magome, but the one I'm going to try is right at the start of the village. Let's check it out. This is Hillbilly Coffee, and if I remember correctly, it's actually owned by the son of the lady who owns Guest House Modomiya, and the coffee is absolutely divine, with most cups costing between 500 and 600 yen, so do check it out when you're in Magome. Now, you're probably already aware, but a lot of the regions and towns in Japan have their own local cuisine, and one of the things you can try here in Magome is gohei mochi, and I've just found a place right at the start of Magome town where I can try one myself, so let's go and see what it's like. I think my next tip would be, do not forget your sunscreen in your luggage that you've sent on using the luggage transfer service. Actually, I'll talk about that in just a second, but let's try this gohei mochi then. As far as I'm aware, this one is sweet. It's coated in sugar and soy sauce and mirin, so let's give it a go. Definitely sweet, but not, I would say it's a savory snack. The soy sauce really comes through over the sugar, but still very nice. Just I will need some water after this, but it is very tasty. The perfect balance of maybe sweet and salty. In fact, maybe more on the salty side, but definitely try these. These are delicious. Now, about luggage transfers. You can have all your bags transferred from your accommodation in Magome to Sumigo using the Nakasendo luggage transfer service, which you can find as the top result of a Google search. Just contact them for a quote and then organize a pickup location and time through WhatsApp. It's what I did for my heavy bags. It was stress-free, it was hassle-free, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. The next snack I found here is called kurifuku, and this is dough with a chestnut baked inside. So let's give this a taste and see what it's all about. The chestnut has a consistency like baked potato. Semi-sweet, not overly sweet, but a good snack. I think this would be better in the autumn or winter, not so much on a warm summer's morning. In fact, the owner of our guest house said the same thing. These are better had in autumn, of course when chestnuts are in season, but I couldn't resist trying it when I'm here because I'm not going to be here in autumn. One of the first things you should do when you arrive in Magome is head to the Tourist Information Centre. There you can get information on the trail, what to do in Magome and Tsumago itself, and of course there is an Eki stamp there, so do not forget your stamp book because the stamps are very cool indeed. Anyway, we did that last night, so we're going to hit the trail now. It is about 8 kilometers long and takes about 2 to 3 hours to walk. I think we'll be closer to the 3-hour mark because I'll be stopping to take lots of pictures and videos. So let's get going out of Magome because we don't leave right now, we never will. Let's hit the trail. Before you leave town, don't forget to sign the guest book, which you can find in this shelter along with free Wi-Fi. After you leave your message in the book, check out these charts to see how many people from your country have walked the Nakasendo. Then on your way out, look for these props hanging on the wall because should you choose to wear them, you can get some very cool souvenir photos. And when you're done there, you're on your way to Sumigo on the Nakasendo. Bears actually reside in the area of the Nakasendo Trail. You will see warning signs throughout the trail and you'll actually hear and see people hiking with bear bells. I don't have bear bells because I think the stream of people today will be enough that the bears won't be anywhere near the path. But just in case they are, at certain intervals along the path, they have these bear bells. And again, although there's no risk of bears today, I think it's still part of the experience to ring the bear bell. So with that being said, that should scare them away. About 20 minutes outside of Magome, you'll reach your first landmark, the home of Wakisan, who has opened his garden to the public for their enjoyment as they walk the Nakasendo. If you're lucky to meet the man himself, you'll find him to be very pleasant and friendly, so do try to stop in here because it will really add to your experience. Right, we are 2.5 kilometers into the Nakasendo from Magome and we've just crossed into Nagano Prefecture. So up until this point it's been a gradual ascent, not really a tough ascent, but definitely gradual and consistent. Now I think from here it is a descent the whole way into Sumigo. So let's go find out if that's correct. About 5 kilometers from Magome, you're going to come across this tea house, and if you go inside you can get a free cup of tea and it's a great place to take some pictures. Now if you're here in winter, you're going to be blessed with some very soft light coming in through the windows in the tea house, and it's one of the best pictures you can get in Japan in my opinion. But unfortunately for me it is the end of June, so I won't be able to get any such pictures, but I'll try to get some inside anyway. And in fact I want to try the tea, so let's go see what it tastes like. So there's 2 types of tea here. There's cold barley tea and warm green tea. I went for the warm green tea and it is delicious. There are straw hats here as well that you're free to use whilst you drink your tea, and I think this is a look. Tea houses such as this would have been a common sight all along the Nakasendo during the Edo-period. This one in particular is 250 years old and is kept going in the present day by volunteers. So be sure to drop a donation in the box as you sit and enjoy your tea and take in the ambience of this amazing space.
straight after the tea house, you come into this beautiful forest. Just look at how serene this is. This part of Japan's kind of reminded me like of Ireland. It's so green and lush, and it's just beautiful. Wow, did not expect this at all. I've done a little double back on myself here just to come to Otaki waterfall. There are actually two here. There's a male waterfall and a female waterfall. And wow, just look at the size of this male waterfall. It's just come into view right now. So right behind me is the female waterfall, and what a beautiful place this is. And I must have missed the turnoff for this because we had to double back on ourselves when we got further up the road, but it seems other people came here through this path which actually has the Nakasendo arrows marked on it. So maybe you need to keep better eyes out than I did when you walk this, because maybe this is easy missed. Right, I have just entered the town of Sumigo, and unfortunately I'll not be able to spend a lot of time here at all because there's a bus I have to get to the train station, and they're not very frequent. Right now it is about 1:45 and the next one is not until 4:45, and my plans changed last night, which means I have to be in Tokyo tonight. So if I don't get this bus, I won't get to Tokyo until late, but hopefully I can get in, do a little walk around and show you something before the bus comes. So I'm going to go at double pace into the town here and see what we can find before the bus arrives. This is easily the most beautiful town I've been in Japan. Just wow, it actually feels like you're back in the Edo-period. It's a whole time capsule, this place, just like Magome.
Much like Magome, Tsumago is full of artisan shops, eateries and cafes, but it does seem like it's much harder to find accommodation here for non-Japanese speakers, which is a shame because it is so incredibly beautiful and tranquil. When you're finished exploring the town, head to the Tourist Information Center where you can get an official stamp certificate to show that you completed the Nakasendo.
Arigatou gozaimasu. I've got the all-important certificate signed. I have officially completed the Nakasendo Trail from Magome to Sumigo. Right, made it to the bus stop, and thank the Lord, because if I did not, I might have been stuck here for quite a while. Now, it's a shame I couldn't spend more time in Sumigo, but I definitely recommend you to spend more time here if you can. In fact, I recommend staying here if you can find accommodation. I had a lot of trouble finding accommodation. There are lots of guest houses and ryokan here, but they all use Japanese websites, so they're hard to navigate. My boss has just come, let me do a proper sign off at the train station. So that was the Nakasendo Trail, and my biggest regret was not leaving early enough in the morning to allow myself to enjoy the trail, take photos and videos, and then spend some time in Sumigo, because Sumigo was definitely the jewel in the crown of that section of the Nakasendo Trail. So if you take anything away from this, let it be that you should spend as much time in Sumigo as possible, because that place is lined with cafes, shops, souvenir shops and everything. It is just a really pleasant place to be. Now, I've had so much fun walking the Nakasendo Trail, and I hope I've shown you that you should come and walk it as well, or at least helped you plan your own trip if you've already decided that you are going to walk it. So if you've enjoyed the video, guys, or found it useful, please do hit that like button, because that will help you to push this video out to other people who might also like it or find it useful. And if you want to keep up to date with all my future videos, hit the subscribe button and YouTube will let you know when I post another video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm off to Tokyo now. It's a short 5-hour commute from where I am right now in the Giso station in the Kiso Valley. So I'm going to enjoy that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.